everyone, Lori here from the Lori Travato Show and Found Florist Farm. So this tutorial that you're going to be seeing happens to be inspired by two different things: trinkets and hearts. Somebody who is very close to me loves hearts, shares one every single day. She calls it the heart of the day, and it always makes me smile. So they're based on a heart. Obviously, you can do the technique I'm going to show you on anything at all. The other thing I'm going to be using are trinkets. A friend of mine, she suggested when I was in a live show that I use trinkets. I got them. Please follow along. It's a little over 10 minutes. Enjoy the show. Thank you.
All right, everyone, so once we have our beautiful colored mica shift powder and or alcohol ink, we're going to take our blade and start chopping up our little bits and pieces to make the mosaic. So I'm going to go really fast here. Isn't that amazing how fast my hands move? Wow. And then you place it on top with your acrylic pad. You're going to press really hard. I want it to stick because I don't want to have these shift when I put it through the pasta machine. So the fabulous thing is, with this acrylic block, I can see exactly what I'm pressing. The next step that I'm going to do is take a fine piece of black. Now you could use different colors, but I chose black, and it is a number 1 on my setting, which is the thinnest. And then I want to take off all the extra that I don't need, because every little bit counts, and it's really, really important that we save our product. I'm rolling it now through, and it comes where I'm not like completely pancaking it. I'm doing it only slightly thinner than the setting it is. So if it was, say, the thickness of like a 5 or a 6, I would do it to a 4. Around the house, I gathered some different textured trinkets that I had. This was inspired by a person that I mentioned in the beginning of the video had mentioned, why don't you try that? So I used this beautiful butterfly that I had. Believe it or not, I didn't pay anything for it. I got it at our local swap shop. It was on a glass vase, so thank you whoever dropped it off. It had these really great textures, and so I pressed it all over this entire piece. But I left some spaces for some other trinkety bits, and the effect was really nice. So what you're not really seeing is what's happening underneath the clay. When you press down a trinket or whatever you happen to have, the black is going down in certain places. So it will start to sort of seep into the bits that are underneath. Now I want to draw your attention to this cool key. This particular key we found in our house. Our house is almost 300 years old. So I decided that utilizing a trinket, see, I stopped the frame right there because I thought it was just so cool. So I wanted you to see what was happening. I'm putting this in the skeleton key. I wish I knew what it used to go to. It'd be so cool to find it. But it leaves, again, all these impressions. Now see this heart right here? Do you see the eye? It's like an eyeball. I utilized a little teeny tiny cookie cutter that was in the shape of a leaf. And when I used the back of the key and the dowel that you see here, it pushes the black in further down into those colors that I painted with the alcohol ink and the mica shift powder. So when I start to do the shaving, you're going to see different elements and layers coming up. I first saw a technique similar to this on, I believe her channel, Clay Boutique, so I want to give a shout out to her because she does things where she presses things in to the clay. So I used trinkets and things I had around the house. And so then now I'm taking this blade. Be very careful, folks. They are basically razor blades. You're going to start to shave away once you've gotten satisfied with all of the things that you used to make these textures in your clay. Now, listen, I just used stuff that was around the house that I had that I thought would make a really neat effect. You might decide to use something else. Now, look, if you see here, you can see where it's almost like a butterfly wing effect that happened. I have the transparent clay. I've got a little mica shift in there. You can see on my upper right-hand corner of the screen the little black dot. Now I'm going to keep shaving this away so you can see what I'm talking about. I want to encourage all of you to experiment on this and try making some little mini pads of layers of different color clays with the MOSAIC color shifting, and take that and try different things around your house that have texture to them. I purposefully looked for items that I already owned around the house that I could use in this to give texture. This little bit here, you can see the black leaf. It almost looks like a swirl of an eye. So I'm trying to pull things off so I can figure out where I want to use them later, because you never know when you're working on a unique project, all of a sudden that little bit that you shaved off and you put to the side, all of a sudden becomes purposeful and meaningful to your design. And I promise you, look at that. Isn't that really cool? And the shift of the mica powder, I have to tell you, get yourself either some eyeshadows, go in your bathroom, find some eyeshadow you already own. I encourage people to try to find items they have. Now, see this eye right there? That I used on my heart later on. So I just want to do that cutaway. So these hearts, see that right there? That became part of the heart. And I all of a sudden saw how pretty that design was when I shaved it away. And that was a combination of using the leaf cutter and using the like the back of the punching tool or the dotting tool when I pushed down into the black clay. So we're getting two effects here. The outline of the eye and then the pushing down of the dowel into that. And it really looks beautiful when done and unique, right? So here we have, I just want to make sure I'm showing everybody these little different shifts in the colorations, because you could get some really neat effects. Like if you wanted to put this on this side over here on the right and then do a channel in the middle of some shimmering colors, you could. The sky is the limits with this. And I think the thing I like the most is I love puzzles and solving puzzles. And you might be saying, well, how does this have anything to do with solving puzzles? Well, to me, when I'm pressing in different types of textures, like I did with the butterfly and the little tiny leaf and the neat old key that I found in our house, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Now, looking here at this blue heart that I just put on the screen, and then again this white alabaster one with the eye, I didn't know that was going to come out like that. So if you saw right there, it went pretty quick. See it again? There it is. It actually transformed into sort of like a butterfly wing. And so I'm only going to put it on half and show you what it looks like. It's really pretty. And you could do a little abstract look like this. Again, this was just using the stuff I had laying around the house. I used a semi-transparent clay. That's that skin color clay you see there. I used black. And then I used those mica shift powders, which they come through subtly. If you notice in the one with the eye, it's a little bit more defined. Where I shaved this one, the mica I could cut down into the squares. And what happens is if you cut down deep enough, I didn't have the mica shift powder go all the way through the transparent clay. So I wanted to have some different dimensions and some contrast. And I thought that that would be the way to do it. Now, you could take the semi-transparent clay to make your custom colors and roll it and massage it with the mica shift powder and a little liquid clay and get yourself some really custom color in throughout the entire piece, or use alcohol ink. The alcohol ink will absorb. I do have alcohol ink in one of those. So I'm going to show you another technique right here. I'm not actually going to go into the details, but that is going to be another tutorial coming up using the same palette that you just saw in the other video, but then we do more to it and we layer them and we chunk them in. I'm so glad you joined me. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye for now.